Shalom to the Keter Society members. This is part 2 of our mini-series called Running and Engaging Pesach Seder, and I was asked to speak about engaging teens in the Seder experience. I think it's safe to say that of the 4 categories of ages that are being addressed in this mini-series, teenagers are likely the most challenging, especially since we can't make or watch videos at the Seder, and so we are left with live interactions and making conversation and actually sitting down face-to-face without any devices or electronic intermediary, which is not what most of our teenagers, or adults for that matter, are necessarily accustomed to these days. Now, not to add pressure or anything, but a recent study done just 5 years ago or so of 17,500 Jewish teens, the largest of its kind, showed that a teenager's experience at his or her Pesach Seder was one of the greatest indicators of his or her overall associations with religion and religious experience. So basically, we have to make sure that our Pesach Seder is an exceptional one for our teens. I think the key to a successful Seder for teenagers is one that not only engages teenagers, but also empowers them and allows them to take ownership of their own Seder experiences, which will undoubtedly enhance their level of engagement since they feel that they are contributing to the greater Seder experience. And to that end, I want to suggest a few practical ways to engage our teenage children in the Pesach Seder. First, let's start with some pre-Seder ideas. Based on each of your teenagers' strengths and talents, encourage them to take an active role in the Seder. You might encourage your creative child with a flair for design to be in charge of creating a Pesach-themed Seder table, or a musical child should write a gramin or a song and perform it at the Seder. An artistic child should be asked to make a drawing or painting to be displayed at the Seder. Each of our teens is different and for sure has a strength that can be capitalized on at the Seder. Talk to your teens beforehand and see which piece they would like to take responsibility for. The next thing I want to suggest to engage our teens is games, which we often associate with children of younger ages. But today, everyone loves to play games, and I dare say everyone loves prizes. So be prepared to reward your teenagers with meaningful, motivating prizes that they will actually look forward to earning by participating and winning the games. Of course, there are the classic trivia games, Jeopardy games, riddles, taboo, and the like that can all be made Pesach-themed. My teenage daughter one year prepared a whole series of, I think they're called rebuses, word puzzles connected to Pesach, and we've been playing the same game every year since then, and no one gets tired of it, nor do we remember the answers from previous years. And we all play graciously because we know that at some point my daughter had invested a lot of time and energy into making the game for all of us to enjoy. Along similar lines, you can turn your Seder into a showcase of your teenagers' talents by asking each of them to write one additional paragraph to the Haggadah, for example, and to share it at the Seder, or to prepare an original Seder plate that depicts the Pesach theme of their choice and to display it at the Seder. Or everyone can pick a name from a hat of someone else at the Seder and prepare a personalized bracha for that person and leave it on their plate at the start of the Seder. The overall idea being that everyone has the same task, but if given the capacity for self-expression through that task, the Seder is then used as the venue to share each teen's creation. And of course, let's not forget discussions. With the mitzvah of Sipor Yitziat Mitzrayim at hand, we want to spend the night engaging in talking. And without all of our devices, let's take advantage of this rare opportunity to actually sit down and talk. You can think of discussion topics in advance, and there are also some great resources online. And by the way, there are great resources online for all of these ideas, such as 20 engaging questions for the Pesach Seder on aish.com. There's even an entire book, Volume 1 and Volume 2, available on Amazon called Haggadah for the Curious, Fascinating Ideas and Questions and Answers for Teens and Adults. Be prepared with lots of topics for discussion so that if one is a dud and doesn't interest your crowd, you can try another one at a different point in the Seder. And inversely, if you throw out a topic and it's a big hit, that might be your sign that you hit the jackpot and you can save the rest of your discussion ideas for next year's Seder. I just want to mention 3 additional points, and with these I will conclude. First of all, I'm not being mechadesh anything when I say that no 2 children are alike, and I do believe it's most true at the teenager's stage of life. You can have one teen who prepares 10 divrei Torah and another teen who rolls his eyeballs at each one. And you may have one teen who loves games and another may think she's too cool or too old for games. So try your best to keep everyone's needs and likes in mind and try to have one element of the Seder cater to each of your teenagers' personal interests. Secondly, pay attention to the seating at your Seder table, especially if you have other guests. Sometimes we tend to seat our guests close to us, and that pushes our own children farther away at the Seder table. And it's important to make sure that our teenage children specifically are sitting in a seat next to people, either their own family members or guests, that they feel comfortable and happy to spend the next bunch of hours sitting next to. And finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that specifically this year, I think it's imperative to somehow incorporate current events and the times that we're living in into our teens' Seder experience, to make the connections of V'hisha'amda la'avotenu v'lanu, the threats we are currently facing that are not dissimilar to our experiences in Mitzrayim, the never-ending plight of our enemies who wish to wipe us off the face of the earth, but that even today, as we face those threats, HaKadosh Baruch Hu matzilenu mi'adam, we are here and always will be. And of course, let's not forget to focus on Eretz Yisrael being the ultimate goal. Not only back in the days of Yetziat Mitzrayim, as we know that we were taken out of Egypt only for the sake of receiving the Torah and settling in Eretz Yisrael. And that very same mission is most applicable and achievable today in our times as well. Wishing everyone a meaningful Pesach Seder, a Chag Kosher v'Sameach, and looking forward to seeing you soon here in Eretz Yisrael.